Right now at 6, a historic strike as thousands of Providence workers, including doctors, walk off the job.
We've been at the bargaining table, spelling these things out to them very clearly.
The union leaders who called this strike did so with the intention of disrupting patient care.
Plus, the man accused of opening fire in a mall food court on Halloween, now facing new charges as fresh video reveals more details.
Stand by for suspect description. He's the shooter because he's holding the gun.
And strike teams from Oregon join the Southern California firefight as thousands of crews inch their way forward.
I would also like to acknowledge the tireless efforts of all first responders who have put themselves in harm's way.
We begin at 6 with the largest healthcare worker strike in Oregon history now underway with no end in sight. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. The strike involving Providence employees is the first to include doctors. Let's get right to Celine Stevens, who's live at Providence St. Vincent. Celine, you spoke with both sides today, Providence and the healthcare workers.
David, Christine, I did. As you can see, all those strikers have gone home for the night, but they'll be back tomorrow for day 2. Now, Providence says that operations were running smoothly today, despite a little less than 500 of those union-represented workers reporting to work. Now, that's out of a total of around 5,000. Still, the rest were out here striking for better wages and better staffing, all to improve patient care.
We need to start putting decisions back in doctors' hands and not corporate executives.
Providence healthcare workers, this time including physicians, launched Oregon's biggest healthcare strike Friday, involving around 5,000 workers represented by the Oregon Nurses Association.
I'm out here with everybody else, to really advocate for patient safety. We can only do so much. We can only see so many people. And it really comes down to patient safety at the end of the day.
Doctors and nurses calling on Providence to not only provide competitive wages and benefits, but improve staffing and comply with the state's safe staffing laws, something physicians claim is not being done despite demands.
It makes you really angry and frustrated because we've been at the bargaining table, spelling these things out to them very clearly, what needs to be done, and even trying to provide solutions that they've all rejected.
But Providence says that's not true.
There have been requests from the different bargaining units for things that didn't end up in the law. That law, was a coalition of people. They've asked for those things to now get written into contracts.
Providence says they're highly committed to staffing, and even with a national shortage of doctors and nurses, they've made increases. But now with the strike, Providence had to bring in assistants to take care of patients.
We have medical directors, we have other hospitalists, we have independent medical staff physicians in place at St. Vincent's providing physician care for patients at St. Vincent's as we speak.
Providence says people can still come to their hospitals if needed, but longer wait times are to be expected. Physicians are only striking at St. Vincent and women's clinics, but nurses are holding the picket line at all 8 hospitals and all women's clinics too, leading some clinics to shut down. Providence blames the union for the impact to patients, but providers say,
I think it's insulting and it's also frustrating. Because that's our whole reason for being here is to, take care of our community. But, if we feel like it's not safe and not sustainable, that's not going to benefit our community in the long run.
Providence says that for nurses specifically, if they decide they want to report to work and not take part in the strike, they have until 8 p.m. tonight to let Providence know they've changed their mind. Also, I spoke with some members of the bargaining team, and they said they've sent proposals to Providence, but they haven't heard back. The hospital tells me that they're waiting for their hospitals to be stabilized before they return to the bargaining table. Back to you.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. Celine Stevens on the west side this evening. Thank you, Celine. In your headlines, a 5-year-old Vancouver boy is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after he was hit by a car on his bike. Authorities say this is around 3:30 Thursday afternoon in the parking lot of the Townhouse Square Apartments. That's on East Mill Plain in the Vancouver Heights neighborhood. Police say it appears the boy was riding between 2 parked vehicles when he ran into the moving car and went under the rear tire. They add the driver cooperated with investigators and do not believe speed or impairment were factors.
A former member of the Oregon Ducks football team was arrested this week in Springfield after he was accused of assaulting someone in California Christmas Day. Wide receiver Ryan Pelham allegedly hit someone with a gun and fired 2 shots in his hometown of Long Beach. As a freshman, Pelham saw limited action on special teams for the Ducks in 2024. He entered the transfer portal on Monday. University staff confirmed he is no longer enrolled at U of O or on the team. He posted bail and is awaiting extradition to California.
Prosecutors say the man who was convicted of kidnapping women and locking them in a makeshift cell in a Klamath Falls home allegedly made a second jail escape attempt. Prosecutors want a life sentence for Nagasi Zuberi, with new court documents saying he used a mop bucket wheel to break a window. That's after he tried to use this, a makeshift chisel made of a shoe and screw, in his first escape attempt. A federal jury convicted Zuberi of kidnapping a woman in Seattle and sexually assaulting her. A second victim also came forward. Zuberi's sentencing is set for next Friday.
And Oregon environmental officials say there is no risk to public health or fish in the Marys River near Corvallis after a train hauling fertilizer plunged into the river last weekend. One of the cars was filled with fertilizer, ended up partially submerged after a trestle collapsed. All week, a Department of Environmental Quality, or DEQ, emergency response team has been at the site monitoring as contractors pumped the fertilizer out of the train cars before they're removed. DEQ says it'll keep an eye on water quality in the Marys River and downstream in the Willamette. Matt?
All right, Christine, thank you very much. We have a good snowfall happening up on Mount Hood right now. There's the lights from Timberline for the night skiers, and you can see there's a lot of snow still flying in the air. There's been about 3 inches new, maybe 4 by now. 26 degrees, so things have been freshened up on the mountains, and we'll get more new snow overnight tonight. In fact, when you look at Doppler radar, you see the returns are over the Cascades, over the coast. They're really beginning to wind down, and there really hasn't been any rain in the valleys since this morning. It's been pretty light. And offshore, you see a few speckles off the Washington coast. So yes, I have to keep showers in the forecast for tomorrow, but not that much. We've got mainly dry weather coming up for not only the weekend, but for the week ahead. We picked up about 1/4 inch of rain today, adding to our healthy January total. We're above average for the month to date, a little bit over 1/2 inch up at Astoria. And so we look at the forecast, and weekend mountain snow showers, yes, but the valley's mainly dry. We'll get some sun breaks or maybe a few sprinkles here and there. Clear again next week, a little bit colder, so frost in the mornings in some areas, probably fog on Monday morning. So slightly cooler, but still quite pleasant. Guys?
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Matt. The man accused in the deadly Vancouver mall shooting on Halloween night was back in court this morning.
Devin Haskins is in the newsroom. Devin, the suspect is also facing charges that he tampered with a witness. What do we know?
Well, David, Christine, prosecutors are now saying Travis Ward called his girlfriend from jail on multiple occasions and twice tried telling her not to cooperate with police. He's now charged with 2 counts of witness tampering on top of the murder and assault charges. He's currently being held in jail without bail, and new video obtained by KGW also shows the moments after the shooting and the efforts to track him down.
We can go to number 84, Travis Ward.
Friday morning in a Clark County courtroom, Travis Ward appears on video court for a procedural court appearance.
What's the state's position?
It was on Halloween night during a busy trick-or-treating event at the Vancouver Mall. Ward is accused of shooting and killing James Perez and injuring 2 others. He told detectives after his arrest days later he didn't do it.
I don't know what happened at the mall. I don't know who them people is.
Police say Ward went to the mall that night with his girlfriend and mom.
When you enter the mall with her and your mom and your daughter, you put on a mask. You walk through the mall with them.
Prosecutors now accuse Ward of tampering with a witness on 2 occasions. According to court documents, prosecutors say he called his girlfriend twice from jail, telling her during one call, quote, "In the future, if they try to get you to show up for anything, then don't show up, okay?"
Yo, we gotta go.
After the 911 calls came in,
Appears to be a male wearing a clown mask.
body-worn camera video from that night.
Where did he go?
Shows Vancouver police race to the mall.
Food court. Second floor, second floor.
As officers work to tape off the food court area, you can see medics help one of the injured.
Single gunshot wound to the left lower abdomen.
Another officer works with mall security to help track down the shooter.
11, stand by for suspect description. He's the shooter because he's holding the gun.
Travis Ward was arrested 2 days later, walking out of his apartment with his hands up.
During the court appearance today, the judge says Ward's trial will start in November. David?
Thanks, Devin. Appreciate the update there. Right, another update. St. Helens High School teacher Eric Stearns will remain in jail over the weekend after a hearing to consider his release was postponed.
Stearns faces 18 sexual abuse charges against 12 people. Eric Stearns appeared in court today, but his defense attorney did not show up, so the judge delayed the case. Prosecutors want Stearns to stay in jail until his trial, and in a court filing said, quote, he has preyed upon not only minors but adults as well and has only become emboldened as he has largely avoided any meaningful repercussions. The state has serious ongoing safety concerns. But that decision will have to wait. Here's the judge explaining why defense attorney Jennifer Myrick didn't show up to the hearing.
We then got further communication from Ms. Myrick that she is unable to attend because she is ill. We can't go forward without her attorney. We have right to an attorney.
Court documents show detectives confirmed complaints had been filed against Stearns in years past at St. Helens High School that administrators and others never acted on. Stearns' hearing is now reset for Monday.